Felix, and of course, Winston here. And Winston just explained to me that Goldman Sachs, one of the most important investment bankers in the world, just told their clients to do what? Stop. And why, you're wondering? Well, there's a bunch of reasons for that. Disruption, geopolitics and tariffs, and what was the third one? A tricky inflation environment, Winston just whispered to me. And what does that actually mean? Well, if you want to understand that, because it's insanely important, and then also understand what we are buying and selling today and why the headline data today, the news items you're seeing about retail sales crashing, which is what the story is right now this morning, is complete nonsense, then stick around. You got a cough, have you? Winston has a cough. Oh dear. You want to stick around and understand that, then say, I do. Put it in the live chat and Winston will break it down for you here as he's lying down on the sofa. The camera angle doesn't quite get him there. So let me share my screen with you. And here we go. That's not the right one. Is that the right one? One either. Right, here we are. So let me find a pen if I can. Oh dear. There's no pen today. All right, we shall have to get our go on with that one. I do. So what does this really mean? Well, let me walk you through it. That's what's my intention. Remember this headline? NVIDIA shares are no longer bulletproof. DeepSeek fears linger, apparently, deeply. So that was one thing that scared the market. But the market hasn't really moved all that much, right? Have a look at, this is pre-market, by the way, but if you have a look at where we are right now with NVIDIA, is it all over? Is it completely collapsed and crashed? No, it's trading where it was in the middle of December or where it was in November, October, and you know, it hasn't really moved all that much. It's basically where it was in mid-January. There seems to be some resilience here we need to understand. And then next, we've got this. Do you remember the inflation data that we just got out when everybody freaked out a day or so ago about inflation? And this is the 10-year US Treasury yield, which is basically higher interest rates. And they kind of really went to the highest points we'd seen in over a year. I really do wish I had a pen and see it. One second. There we go. We risked it all. And now we've lost the camera, haven't we? Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What did we do? Winston, what did we do? We've frozen me. Interesting. I didn't know we could do that. Give me a second while technology keeps us occupied. What did I do? Something, didn't I? Clearly. Let's see if we're back. Okay. Well, I keep walking you through what's going on here anyway. It's probably more important that you see me than that you see, I mean, sorry, that's not what I meant. You know what I meant. Let me activate. Okay, that looks better. Okay, camera resumed. So basically, you know, we were really worried about inflation just a couple of days ago. So yeah, smash the like buttons for tech-induced entertainment around here. This is what happens when you give a golden retriever the mixing board. I know. He's still here. Yet, and this is important, retail keeps buying. That's the degenerates like you keep buying shares, and that's a good thing. And we've also just got into the sweet spot for what? Buybacks. Anybody remember me sharing this particular chart with you? Annual share buybacks this year are expected to be 1.16 trillion, like the real trillions. Pretty staggering amount of money. And that, of course, is very supportive of the market. So that's probably coming back. Felix dropped the soap. Fox. Naughty. So what does it all mean? Well, it means what they're actually saying to their customers. To the big investors out there who give Goldman Sachs money, they're saying, stop selling. And what's just happened is a complete flip of what we've seen the last 6 weeks or so. Hedge funds, who are their clients, the hedgies, have started to buy, which is very, very good. And what I've been saying the last week or so is just like sentiment's so bad. I think this is becoming an opportunity. And I think we're basically there now, which is definitely very, very good. Some of my friends that you still haven't got the VIX email. Yeah, everybody got it, my friend. Drop me an email and we'll reply to yours. I'm sure your spam filter ate it up. So the question then becomes, well, what do we actually then go out and buy, right? Well, what are the stocks that we're buying today? And people are throwing out all sorts of things that are moving up a lot today. And there are like SoundHound, for example, that got hit hard, right? So I asked you at the beginning here, what are your fears? And for most of you, it's actually missing opportunities, which is interesting because I kind of think that's a good one. I think that's actually quite a positive one. And the problem with that is that most people then just FOMO buy whatever has just gone up, right? And that isn't always a good thing to do. And I want to therefore teach you what are the big opportunities to buy. So what are the breakouts before we get them? And Fox just kindly shared the link there for it, how we do that. And you can literally learn that in like 15 minutes. 15 minutes, all you need. And there's a masterclass, it's pre-recorded. You can play it anytime. You can play it right now or at the end of this video. And you will actually learn how we spot those breakouts and therefore how we, make a lot of money. And it's beautiful stocks like Palantir, for example, which is looking pretty sweet and strong right now. Well, it's down 0.5%, neither here nor there. If you turn on a little breakout indicator, you get a feel of what these are, right? But you don't know why they're there, and you don't know how to act when you see them, and you don't know when to sell. And that's really a problem. So breakouts are great if you have the tool to find them, like Trade Vision here, but you still need to understand how they work and why. If you don't, you're going to fall on your face. I strongly encourage you to literally leave this video right now, go bugger off, and watch that masterclass at felixprehn.org/get-free instead, because that matters a lot more than what I'm about to tell you. Now, I am, however, going to give you a but. And the reason for that is, as I have my daily dose of electrolytes. Alpha is saying the masterclass is 18 minutes, not 15 minutes. Alpha, you must be a very happy chap. But it's quite good to be pedantic, actually. As an investor and as a trader, being pedantic is quite a good skill. So I congratulate you on that. OCD never hurt nobody. Fund flows are very, very good. And I told you this in December, I told you this in January. They're very, very good until the middle of February. And after the middle of February, fund flows do what? Less money enters the market. It's just that. March also isn't very good. That's just typically the way it works. So that's the warning. And the reason I tell you that is because people are going to FOMO buy into whatever it is. 18 minutes for the price of 15. Paul, I like you. You're hired. Exactly. You get 3 bonus minutes if you watch the masterclass. We always need to be prepared for the unexpected. And if you think about all the geopolitical things that are happening right now, I mean, literally just in the last 24 hours, what's happening, right? There is potentially an end to the Ukraine war. Vice President is in Europe. Europe is going to spend, the apparatchiks in Europe are going to spend more on defense. Someone's going to have to pay for that. Then we've got the Middle East, right? On Saturday, Trump's deadline's over. Hamas, right? That's a whole thing. And that'll affect shipping, that'll affect logistics, that'll affect, obviously, lots of things. Right? India, which is a huge economy, the Indian president was just in the US. India also has the highest tariffs of any major nation in the world. Trump stood next to the Indian president and said, we're going to slap those tariffs on you too, right? That's disruptive. And we're going to get tariffs all around us. They will be everywhere we go. And they'll be reciprocal. They'll be on European goods. Europe sort of says we got low tariffs, right? But Europe has a 20% VAT on all goods brought in. That's a 20% tariff. It's probably about a 30% tariff on everything that comes into Europe. So, right, if the US does that, wow, there's going to be some disruption. And then there's a lot of other stuff that's going on at the same time. So, RFK, right, just confirmed, new health secretary. Well, what's pharma going to do? He ran his whole campaign saying, I will ban pharma ads on TV, for example. Do you think pharma stocks are going to like it? So there's a lot of stuff that's happening here, and it's going to cause some uncertainty. And for that, you always need to have what? You need to have risk management. That's the second part you get in the masterclass. That's the extra 3 bonus minutes. Australia has 0 tariffs. Is that true? No, that actually isn't true. Sorry, that isn't true at all. Because I have a wine business, and we used to try and sell wines into Australia, and it's almost impossible because your tariffs are so freaking high that it becomes you are very, very heavy protectors, for example, of agricultural goods. So it's just not true. Most countries have tariffs. Most countries also have hidden tariffs and regulations and other taxes and so on. So now you got that out of the way. Let me talk to you about retail sales data. So we got that little feature now in Trade Vision, which is super cool. We have an events tab now, like it'll pop that up for you here. At the top, it'll say upcoming events. We keep telling you all the other marvelous things that we're releasing, and you can click on that and you see events. And retail sales, and I've just got a filter on here for, the most important stuff. And you can filter by country, and even if you live in somewhere really irrelevant, you can still put your country in there, but mostly it's the US we care about. And retail sales data came in at minus 0.9%. We were expecting it to be 0.1%. That's pretty bad, right? So you might be thinking, oh my God, retail in the US is collapsing. Oh my God, I'm sure Nike is collapsing. What are they? Where is retail on here? Consumer services? Seeing any big collapse, right? Well, you're not seeing any collapse. Walmart's up, Amazon is sort of sideways, not a lot going on there. So why isn't it collapsing? Understanding this a little bit better is, again, very, very important. Well, let me show you this. Retail sales data is another piece of fudged government data. It's adjusted, and it's adjusted so heavily it's completely useless. So the blue line on this chart here is the official data they release, and it's what they call retail sales. Right? That's, however, adjusted. Now, unadjusted, it looks a little bit more exciting, which is the green line here. Do you notice something that happens every January? It collapses in January. Guess why? You guys spend all your money in December on Christmas for lovely people. So is this an unusual collapse compared to previous years? Is it? Does it look like one? No, it's the same bloody thing that happens every bloody time. It's just that whoever adjusted the data this January, I don't know, was drunk or something. So ignore that. Ignore this retail sales data. It's complete nonsense. And it's just what happens in January. People spend less money in January than compared to December. It's kind of logical. I wouldn't really wouldn't worry about that too much. But you're going to see some headlines today that will be, I'd wager that Bloomberg has got some sort of Doombergy headline on this. Let's see, let's look on the US edition. No, it's all politics. They probably haven't woken up yet. They haven't read it yet. They'll come out with something miserable here. US retail sales dropped by most in 2 years amid fires and storms. Yeah. But that's it every year. Every year. That's what happens. And it's also, people don't go out as much in January. There's snow in January. People travel less in January. And you've just bought a lot of stuff in December. So that's just what happens. It's not really that unusual. So what do we want to watch out for? If I wanted to watch out for one indicator to see whether the Trump-Elon Doge team, who've apparently entered the IRS today. So the IRS is getting audited, which is just amazing, isn't it? I just don't get the ranting against Doge. Honestly, that thing that Elon's doing there, I think it's the greatest service to every democracy in the world, because you will start to realize everywhere you are in the world, whether you're in Europe or the UK or anywhere else, that government is just this morass of waste that half your taxes get. And it means we can have lower taxes and it'll be brilliant, right? Life will be even better. So what would I watch out for? The US 10-year yields, you want to watch out for those that they keep going down. The more they keep going down, it's basically like interest rate cuts. So we're not going to get Fed cuts until some point, probably second half of the year. But the lower the US 10-year is, the higher your tech stocks, the higher your SoFis will be, and your PayPals and your Teslas and your Nvidias and all that kind of stuff, right? Amid fire and storms. Exactly. They wanted to add a little bit of excitement to that headline, which is just brilliant. ACHR is ticking up, yeah, which is fantastic. And let's have a look then at some of the things that we like and what they're doing. And you can see, by the way, in Trade Vision, you can see the popular stocks here, this list, the most searched stocks in our sort of universe. And that's always quite interesting. And often something pops into there, I'm like, what's that? And I have a look at it. And some of these obviously are quite, stuff we talk about quite a lot. But some of them are also, yeah, it's kind of interesting to see. It gives me some ideas sometimes. We've also just, in Trade Vision, the watch list is now optional in the actual chart. So you can toggle that on here in the bottom right, watch list, and you can have all your watch lists in there. And I'm lobbying for us to be able to make that wider and smaller as well. I'm sure it's coming. But so yeah, I can see, for example, some of the things that I'm invested in. I just imported my portfolio basically, and then I can see that, and we'll connect that all down the road as well. Here, EOSE is finally picking up. That's interesting. Been waiting for that for a while, which is good. Okay, nice little bounce off the support line here. That's good. VIX is still up a little bit. Tesla is. You want something really outrageous on the next thumbnail? Give me suggestions. We have a lot of fun with thumbnails. I mean, the more idiotic, the better. It's a tabloid. That's what we're going to do. But yeah, you got to see them with a sense of humor. SoFi at 15. I think we can live with that. Anything else you want to look at? There were a couple of stocks. SoundHound is collapsing because why? Nvidia has sold it. File 13F, and that says we've sold it. And this weird little company with nobody could quite understand what they do has just collapsed down to $11. So what's the lesson? Exit when the chart tells you to exit. If you watch the masterclass, you will know a lot more about that. Up here would have been ideally to take at least half the trade off, and then yeah, certainly here, you would have closed the rest of it at about $14, which would be better than 11. And also, what's the important thing? Well, when was the entry, right? You don't want to be too late to the party. You buy really late, like here on the rebound, it's very, very hard to make money. And that's why it's a lot. A lot of breakout alerts yesterday. Oh yeah, have a look. I was didn't really pay much attention yesterday as I was on a flight when the market opened. Winston's still here, by the way. I wish you could see him. He's sitting on the sofa. Breakouts yesterday. Oh yeah, 19. Crikey, quite a lot. HIMS, Duolingo, which has been on my watch list for a while. Hood. Sense, interesting. We haven't talked about that one for a long time. So yeah, a lot of stuff going up there. Is Walmart overvalued? Don't know. I don't own any Walmart, but they're gobbling up more of the sort of affluent consumer market there. I think they're doing too badly. Look at the chart. Well, I think it looks good. I mean, look, we called the breakout here at 86. That was a pretty good call, right? And there was one down here at 73. Again, that was a pretty good call. And I say we, I mean Trade Vision. Now, I don't buy parties that late. I wouldn't personally. I mean, it looks very positive. Wait for earnings. That's what I would do. But it's just when the gap gets very large to the 50-day moving average line, like it did here or there, then I don't feel like it's a brilliant entry point. But it might make my running up. Who knows? You want to look at HIMS or hers? Is it sexist that the ticker is HIMS? You see that the other day, some idiotic politician, she said that manufacturing should be renamed because the fact that it starts with man is offensive. Anybody who's done a little bit of Latin or speaks perhaps a touch of Italian or something, man was, right? It's nothing to do with the man. People sometimes are really idiotic. Hymns here, absolutely freaking flying, which is glorious. Earnings were tremendous. So yeah, that's a god candle and a half, and we're above it again, which is very good. Airbnb is up 30% in pre-market. I think that's a great stock. What does Winston think about Hymns? You know, I'm warming to it. I must say, I'm warming to the business concept, and the chart says ecstasy. What are we becoming? I know. Kamada bag holders. I think I got knocked out of my Kamada trade. Quite annoyed by, actually. Yeah, I got knocked out of it. Money on it, obviously, but got knocked out of it, which I think it must have been literally here. Like, I think my stop was at 778, like literally there, and I got knocked out of it, like just about, right? Just about. It's okay. I bought it down here on that breakout, so it was fine. So we'll find another entry point again for it now. Of AeroDriver Unite, like the new watch list, brilliant. And I thank you guys for whoever suggested that. Was it you? That's a very good suggestion. I'd like us to add the kind of edit features and stuff like that to it. I think we can do a lot more with it, and that's obviously coming. But yeah, I love that you guys give us a suggestion, and like 3 days later we got the feature out. I'm very proud of the team there. You had options on Kamada. No, I just bought the stock. There's no options volume, and again, you can toggle options on. But yeah, there is just no options volume, really, like nothing, like 48 here. So there really is just not something you can trade options on. It was you. Okay, well, there you go. Credit goes credit. We should have a little note on them, or a little plaque, right? This suggestion came from 95 Aero Driver. What's your real name, my friend? Let me know in the chat. And if you guys are finding Trade Vision helpful, like put it in the chat. Just write Trade Vision in the chat. I'd love to see it, who's using it, who's getting some value out of it. And if you've got some suggestions, also put that in there. Somebody just asked for, yeah, app Loven, because that's all. And that's a pretty big candle. But earnings were obviously good. Gap up. Now, what's the problem with it? We're right now trading at the very low, actually below yesterday's trading range. Okay, a lot of you guys are using Trade Vision. Brilliant. You want a Winston thumbnail. More functions. Less time to work. Brilliant. Trade Vision is the best. What's the difference between breakout and bullish indicators? Breakouts are rare. Bullishness is common. So I tend to look for the breakouts. Brilliant. How can you view all stocks? Not sure what you mean. So yeah, it's a nice breakout, but it's a cautious breakout. That's the way I would look at that. So let's see what happens today on app here. But of course, it's a monstrous gap up there. Trade Vision gave me a bear tip yesterday before earnings. Okay, well done, Nick. Would you go back into Kamada? Well, yeah, if the chart tells me to. But at the moment, it's limping sideways, right? Which it tends to do after breakouts. It was a breakout, we limped sideways, and then I'll wait for the next one. So at the moment, the volume is declining, and the stock is sort of going nowhere. So until I get a signal, I won't, because I don't buy these stocks, or as these sort of short-term holds, because I love this company. So I do think they have some really cool stuff coming up. I buy it because it's a profit-making opportunity. The only reason I buy any stock. So let's see if another opportunity presents itself, in which case I'll set it up again. Why did you put a stop loss so close to the stock value? I think I wanted to be slightly below. I can't remember why I did it. It was a little close. I agree. I think I wanted to lock in some profits. I was concerned that we might, after. I think my concern was that we would after earnings lose it all, sort of thing. But there weren't no earnings, right? I was wrong on the earnings date. It's reported widely that was in February, and they've moved it to March. It seems. I think that was really why. So I tightened my stops because of the earnings, which didn't exist. David, appreciate that. I'm glad you're getting real value out of that. ACHR, yeah, that's still looking good, right? ACHR, well, it's flat, but that's quite good, really. Why is flat good? Well, there's nothing wrong with flat. So you just need a bit of patience sometimes. So we call this consolidation, or you can call it exhaustion as well, but it's doing it quite nicely, and it's bouncing off the 50-day moving average line there. It's above that trend, so it's not a huge breakout. It's a bit of a premature breakout, but the volume is really quite something. So I'm liking this. Why don't you do iron condors instead of just a spread? I do, for example, on Microsoft, I've got one open right now. I use them more as risk management tools. So I set up a spread first, and then sometimes they become iron condors if I need to defend a position. Tempest is still making corrupt politicians rich. I was going to say Nancy Pelosi, but of course she's corrupt. She's whiter than white, and she's only there to serve the orphans of America, right? Feed the hungry, clothe the poor. That's sort of her mission, and I admire her for that deeply. Now, yeah, that's just flying up, and look at the volume. This is just a Pelosi speculation bubble at this point. Does that mean the stock's amazing? No, it's just the hedge funds jump on board now when Nancy trades, and everybody else does too. So it's a good thing to trade, but it's a little late, maybe. How do you change the strike dates? Up there, the top right? Can't do that. What I'm doing? Can you see what I'm doing? I can't. You can't. Then send us a message to help desk, and we will fix it. Non-US stock suggestion, says Jean Gilbert. Why do you care where your stock's based? Why do you care that your stock is not American? It's not just about how good an opportunity is this. That's really all I care about. How good is the opportunity? What's the risk? So generally speaking, the opportunities are better with US stocks, the biggest stock market in the world, and therefore it's the best opportunity. So I would forget about your little European stocks by and large. There are a couple that are decent, but not. Rheinmetall, somebody says. A firm sitting resistance, is it? That's not really going anywhere, is it? Here it is. I have a position open on that too, which is 0.08% up. I bought it at the breakout here, and we're up a little bit, but not a great deal. I think I bought some, and then I think I bought some more. So where is the resistance? It's at 80 exactly. So we're hitting our head here again and again and again, and on that one, and that's okay. A bit of patience there sometimes. Tesla is up 1.3% again here pre-market. They're about to open in just 1 minute. Quite a nice little bounce off here, right? Quite a nice little bounce off that 330 line. Supports moved back up to 340, I think. Yeah, it was at 300. Can you see that there, the green line? That's moved back up. That's quite bullish. That's quite positive. Volume was good yesterday. It wasn't monstrous, but it was good. So the buyers were out there. Why is DOMH still gapping up? FOMO and just degenerates, really, buying it. That's really what it is. I made 20% on that and exited, and I know I could have made 100 or something, but it would have broken my rules, and I break my rules. Usually not a good thing to do. Fox is reminding me we should watch the masterclass, and you're quite right, my friend Fox, to remind us of that, because it'll teach you what? It'll teach you when to actually buy a stock and when to actually sell it based on the rules that generations successful Wall Street traders have used. And I break it down for you in literally 15 minutes. Give you the rules. After that, you will never look at a stock chart the same way again, and you will have the best year ever and the best year forever after. because once you understand it, you can't un-understand it. That's really what it's about. So check it out. Markets are open. Friend, you don't believe in Nancy's altruism. Oh, you're a cynic, my friend. What does the breakout button do? Well, press it. It gives you breakouts. When was the last Tesla breakout? Was at 300. We haven't had one before that in a long time. But on some stocks, you get a lot more than others. Breakouts are pretty rare. And they're a bunch of rules that you'll understand if you watch the masterclass. But say on Palantir, we've had a few. We had the last one up here at 100. We had one here at 53. We had one down here at 33, right? All buy opportunities. We had one here at 26. We had one here in the 20s. I don't need to go back any further, but you get the idea. So that's basically what the breakouts do. So it gives you fairly rare points that are worth studying, and we send you an email with those every single day as well. That's all in Trade Vision. I need to learn how to use Trade Vision. Yeah, there's a whole tutorial section in there, my friend, which I'd encourage you to use in the top right here, bottom, the middle right here. Just a bunch of videos, watch them. It won't take you very long. And of course, if you've got questions. Murdered by words. That's quite all right. It's good to ask the simple questions, because if you had that thought, other people had it too. Fox, my friend, you are up 10% so far this month. Amazing. So he says everybody must watch the masterclass. I couldn't agree with you more. Mark says, dear fellow campaigners, please give Felix a few likes for his daily efforts. I appreciate that. 2,007 of you, 100 of you here, and 350 likes. That's a pretty tough crowd, isn't it? Convicted felon gets more votes than that, I'd say. So, at least gets at least 12, doesn't he? You could buy only one stock today. Which would it be? Affirm, Tesla, maybe some profits yesterday. I haven't really come up with a conclusion to that answer, to be honest. It takes me a little bit of time to kind of go through and dig through charts and dig through all the breakouts from yesterday. In terms of what's moving today in my portfolio, ACHR is starting to come alive. So I quite like that particular one. Maybe I'm a little premature there on the breakout, and I knew that when I set up the position. It's not like the cleanest breakout when we got in on it here, but it's I think there is a lot of fundamentally good stuff in there. I think they're going to get a lot of government money, so I'm liking it. It doesn't mean that do your own research. PayPal, what's PayPal doing? PayPal is a little bit up, 0.6%. It's just sort of lingering, and I think it's just waiting for the PayPal Investor Day, and we're hoping that the lovely CEO is going to tell us something more insightful than he did at the last one. So it's below the 150. Definitely not a position to be in. So definitely caution on that one. Would not be opening a position on that one right now. I did some defending of my position, which is what you need to do if you have options open. And at the moment, that's turning out to be pretty good. So we shall see what happens there. A long-term bull on PayPal, but we have to, of course, go with the market flow on that. Tempest, falling knife. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think there is. You get to these valuations that then just become silly. I think another one is DOM Dominari Holdings. Is that still going up? Down 10% now. Okay, that's starting to make some sense. So, you could. There's something. This might be something one could short at this point. I'm not suggesting it, but these things overrun, and then they stop making sense. No options on this. You have to just sell the thing. Alpha, PayPal has a legal issue. My friend, if you don't have a legal issue, then you're not growing fast enough and you're not a big enough company. At least if you're the size of PayPal. So if you are dominant market player, you're gonna have legal issues. You're gonna have issues with regulators. You're gonna have anti-monopoly investigations. And look at Microsoft; they've had those for decades. It's worked out rather well for them. Christian says trade vision is worth more than every dollar. Appreciate that, Christian. I'm glad you're getting value out of this, which is the entire point. Archer, do you look at it as a short-term trade or as a possible long-term hold? For me, there isn't really any difference. So what do I do with a trade like Archer is I buy it, I set up a stop loss. And then say we're an optimist and it goes to the moon, and I'm not saying that it necessarily will, but say the stock, does that sort of thing, right? And then eventually it does that, right? So what would I do? Well, I have my stop losses, and they'll be here and then there and then here and then there, and then we're going to sell here. And will I be sad or something? I probably won't even notice, because I bought it here and I sold it here, and that's the entire name of the game: is sell low and buy low and sell high. Right? That's really the entire strategy here. So I really don't care much about individual stocks or story or their CEO or their changing humanity, and very few companies are, let's face it. It's really just a selfish, profits-driven activity that gives me and my family the freedom that we enjoy. and that's the way I would look at stocks. All the stuff out there about, diamond hand and hodl and long term, and it's just about where can the money that I have, we all have a finite amount of money, right? Some of us it's more, some of us less, but it's a finite amount of money. Where can that money give us potentially the best return with the lowest risk? That's what it's all about. And if you don't want to get into that game, then I totally understand, because you need to learn a little bit here. And what would be the solution? Well, the solution would be to just buy the index. Buy the index every Monday or on the first of every month, and forget about it. And you'll do fine. You'll do actually very well. But you look at the index, 500 companies, 470 of those, I would argue, are pretty average. So do I want to own mostly average companies? I don't. So I therefore aim to look up the companies that are, in that moment, ordinary, essentially. That's really what it's all about. You adjust stop loss every day? No, not every day. I mean, once a week's probably fine. I look at my portfolio, quick glimpse in the morning, and I see has anything moved a lot, so 5% or moved more than 5%, I'll have a look at it. In which case I might move the stop. If it hasn't, it really doesn't make any difference. So that takes 30 seconds. And then to adjust the stop will take a minute. So there's no real sense in micromanaging something like that. You just do very, very little. Guinea pigs, yeah, I mean, exactly. There are stocks like Cisco, which was, that was sort of the Nvidia of the 2000s, and it was going to run the world. And then at some point it didn't. And that happens to almost every stock. Almost every stock has the euphoria phase, and then it crashes. What do you want to do? You want to buy it somewhere near the beginning, and then you want to sell it slightly below the top. You'll never manage the top, so don't even try. You want to sell slightly below the top, and that way you make a lot of money. That's really what the whole goal is here. And duplex, if you're hesitant to put a large amount of money into breakouts, then don't. Exactly. Keep it small, keep it slow, keep it steady, learn, practice, use a paper trading account, use a simulator, don't risk real money, and get help. And then gradually over time, you get more confident with what you're doing. And it's a little bit of a process. That's how we learn. Right? Practice makes us perfect. If I try to learn a sport, right? I don't know what it is, baseball or tennis or whatever. How do you get better? You hit more balls. Right? It's very much the same thing with investing. You want to hit more balls. Aristo is an interesting one, being mentioned a few times here, sort of part of the backbone of the whole AI infrastructure world. Thomas, appreciate that. I'm glad this is helpful. And Alpha Charlie, my friend, you're paper trading. I could kiss you. That's amazing. Because you were against that, weren't you? And a lot of people are. A lot of people are like, no, it's got to be real money. It doesn't feel right. I'm a man, And I get that. But no, you got to paper trade. Otherwise, just the amount of money you're going to lose paper trading, you might as well get yourself an amazing coach and actually invest that money and use a paper trading account instead, because it's far, far cheaper. Like, people come to me so often, they're down 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, $1 million, seriously, from avoidable errors in the market, a stubborn mindset. And the more you lose, the harder it is to become a winner again, because your mind is like fried. So much, much easier to ask for help early on. So can you add a button to TV to sort the watch list A to Z? That's a great suggestion, my friend. And in fairness, it did just come out today. We kind of like try to rush it out. So yeah, there's definitely some extra features that are gonna be added there for sure. Alec, you're gonna start paper trading options. Brilliant. That's a great way to learn. Stephanie says, yes, I've learned so much paper trading. Yeah, you screw up, right? Everybody does, and it's an amazing the way to do it. Show you the trade. Asking about this setup, right? Did I share that with you on screen? This is it. So right now, it's making $1,100. It's a pretty low risk position at this point. If Amazon goes above 235, that's where we make real money, right? So say it goes to 240 or something, we could make $7,000. And this position is, how big is this position? The buying power. It has zero buying power at this point. So it actually doesn't cost me anything at all. It's just pure unadulterated profit at $1,100. So yeah, if we go up a bit more, it'd be brilliant. If not, I just close it out at $1,100. So setup that's worked out well. Worked out very well. Renata says, thank you, Felix. I'm actually making money now by following your system. Very, very happy to hear that. And congratulations to you. Do you ever roll short puts? Very rarely. Fox, we used to have a Discord server. It got taken over by scammers and con artists who were trying to sell people dodgy things, so we closed it. So I'm very unlikely to go back to that place. Discord is just, all these social media platforms don't care about their users, so they just care about activity, and they don't protect you from scamming. So we have a completely private community for our actual coaching and mentoring students, which we guard and protect. And therefore, the people in there are actually safe. If you're on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that, it's freaking wild west out there. So that's why I don't really host anything on those platforms. So you want to come and learn, get better, and learn the rules of where we actually buy and where we actually sell, like actual rules. Then head over to felixprehn.org/get-free and learn. And Winston, you're here. Winston wants to say a few words. The link is on the chat here. Let me see you, Winston. Come on, step up. And there we are. The brain behind it all. For a brief moment, here he is. He's finding himself a nice bed on the sofa. So I wish you a beautiful day. I wish you a beautiful rest of your weekend. We're going to have a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of opportunities here. There'll be a lot of ups and downs. And I think the only way really to be prepared is to literally be prepared. Know what you're doing in all those scenarios and have it mapped out, have it automated. And that's my ambition, to teach you that with the masterclass. So head over to felixprehn.org/get-free, and all the best. Take care.